Hi everyone, this is Kemp from Melbourne. So I'm the host of this session. So this session is brought to you by our Melbourne team member, Ram. Actually, he's based in New Zealand. He's going to talk about the PA workspace, the latest and the greatest features. So during the presentation, if you do have any questions, please feel free to leave that in the Q&A session. Other than that, we also have a little bit of time reserved for the Q&A towards the end of the presentation. So please feel free to participate. And then if we are not able to answer all the questions today, we'll definitely reach out to you, email or in the network platform. So without any further delay, I'll hand this over to the presenter, Ram.
Thanks, Kemp. Vanakkam, Kia ora. Hi, I'm Ram. I'm coming to you from beautiful Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm working as a consultant for a Melbourne team. Today, I'm going to talk about the IBM Planning Analytics Workspace latest and greatest feature. So I hope you all can see my screen. What we're going to do is we're going to look in the latest features that has been released in the last 1 year. So when you log into the Planning Analytics Workspace, you can able to see these 4 blocks actually. So these 4 blocks are functional areas. So the first 2 are non-admin functional area. The first one is the reports and analysis, and second one is the application and plans, which most likely everyone sees these 2 of this functional area. The next 2 is the data models and administrations, which probably the admin functional area, and also the modelers and administrators can see these 2. So what we're going to do is we're going into each one of these functional area, and we are going to see a latest features that released in the last 1 year. So first we are jumping into reports and analysis. The first feature, which is my personal favorite, and I've been waiting for this for a long time, is Synchronize Widgets at group level. Let's go into that one. So as you know that previous versions that synchronizing widgets only at the sheets or book. So what they did in the new version is they created you can synchronize the widgets at the group level. So if I look at this one, I have 3 widgets, first one and second one, and this is the third one. First one is group 1. So if I go and turn this on, this is the new button that will tell you each of the widgets belongs to which group. So the first one is the group 1, and second one is the group 2. Third one is the cascade group, which means I'm passing the group 1 and group 2 filter to the third one. So quickly go out of this one. So for example, my first one is the filter, and I'm going to select Norway. And as you can see, the first widget filters for Norway, and then the third widget also filters for Norway. And I'm going to select convertible. So if I go in here, the second widget selected for convertible, and if I go in here, you can see the third one also filter for convertibles and Norway. So we are cascading this first group and second group into the third group. So that's synchronized widgets at group level. Back to the home page. The second feature that we're going to see is target selection, expand and collapse button. So what they did is the functionality remains same, nothing has changed in terms of that. So what they did, they introduced a new button called target selection. As you can see, if I click on the view, you can see there is a small icon here which tells the target selection. So you can click enable and disable, and also you have other way of doing it by clicking on the view, and you can type in your keyboard as F7. Hitting the F7 on and off, that will enable and disable as well. The next one is the expand and collapse button. So if you click on this one, by default, it will be an asymmetrical one. So if I go click, so that will just open this intersection. And if I go and toggle that back to symmetrical, that will open all intersections. So that's our second feature. The third one is the selector visualization. Selector visualization is the new visualization that comes in the 87 or 890. So if I go click on that one, go edit mode, there are 2 ways you can get it. The first way is if you go into the database and you go database cubes, any cubes and any dimensions, you go in there and you click on the dimensions, and you can click add as a selector widget. So you can't do that by going in the dimension, clicking on the dimension, and you don't see that option. The second way of doing is, it is part of the visualization at the moment. So if you go in the visualization tab, so you can see the selector visualization here. So once you get in there, so this is my selector visualization, and if I click on that, so you can customize this visualization by enabling this on and off. For example, this is the whole list of region dimension, so I can disable and enable certain things like that. So you can expand and collapse. I don't want the search bar, and I don't want the icon, I don't want the header. So you can customize however you want using these properties. So that's our third visualization. So jumping back to the home screen, and we're going to see some bonus features and the reports and analysis. And the first one we're going to see is the selecting a member. You can type in the member in exploration view. And the second one is inserting the space in rows and columns, which is my favorite one. And the third one is you can control and select all the widgets in the page, and you can synchronize them simultaneously. So let's jump back into that. Like I said, the first one, so you can click on here and enter member. And for example, if I type Germany and enter, make sure you are typing it correctly, that matches with the member name. So as you can see, that automatically filters this one. So that's a new feature. And the second one is I can add a space before and after, and anywhere in the rows and columns, and I can also right click and remove in both of them. And the third one is I go edit mode. If you have multiple widgets in the page and you want to synchronize all at once, then you control and select all of them, and you go to properties, and you can synchronize the groups, you can synchronize the sandbox and hierarchies. If it's from the same database, you can see all the dimensions. If it's from the different database, you can only see the common dimensions across this database. So let's go out of the edit mode, go to the home page, go to the home page. So we looked into the reports and analysis. Let's jump into the applications and plans functional area. So let's go in there. The first feature is the usability improvements to the contribution page in applications and plans. They introduce a lot of improvements in the usability. We're going to see one of them. And the second one is the complete button for the tasks that do not require submission. And the third feature we're going to see is you can revert approval for the completed task. So what we're going to do, we're going to go quickly out of this, and we go to the home screen, go to applications and plans. And I already have a pre-created plan, so we go in the edit mode. So what they did is one of the usability improvements is, if you can see that this particular plan, I'm in an edit mode at the moment. So if I go and see the plan, so clicking the view plan, it will open the contribution mode. So one of the usability improvement is, you can see they added edit at the back of the application and plan name that differentiates or distinguishes which one is the edit mode and which one is the contribution mode. And also when you're in the contribution mode, you cannot edit. So that is one of the improvements as well. So let's go back to the edit mode. And our second feature is you have a complete button now for any task that does not require submission. So for example, I have the second task. If I go in the edit mode, so this task requires submission. As you can see, the last option here, this task requires submission. Therefore, you have approvers tabs coming in here. And if I go out of this, and the third task, this task does not require any submission. So that means there's no approver tab. So what that means, in the contribution page, if I go to the contribution page, so my second task, it does require submission, so I can see the submit button. The third task I don't need to submit anything, so therefore you have a complete button. So this is the new feature introduced to say, yeah, I completed this task by clicking this button. So the third feature we are going into is revert approvals. So if you look at this first task, this task is completed. So if I go to submissions and you go completed tab, as you can see, this task is completed. So now you have an option to revert approvals. As soon as you click this revert approval, this will go back to the approver. So approver can either approve or reject. If you reject, that will go back to the contributor. So that's our planning and applications. So let's go back to the presentation. Let's go back out of it. So we looked into the reports analysis, application and plans, more related to the non-admin functional area. So we're going to jump into data and models. So the first feature that we're going to look into the data and models is working with the database logs. This is one of the things that we've been waiting for. So you can now access your logs in the modeling workbench, and also you can access the process error logs in the database tree. And second one is my personal favorite, which is the view related cubes. This is identifying which cube relates to which dimension. And third one, now you can able to create the baseline forecast and you can share with your organizations. Like the Michael said this morning today in a session that this can be scheduled in the new features as well. So let's go back to data and models. So go data and models, go to new workbench. Click on any of the database. Now you click on the logs and you can see that all the database logs are easy to access from here. So all the logs, if you go in any of all the logs has the functionality of you can filter for that and then you can search it and then you can download as well. So this is a nice functionality where you can filter for a specific thing and you can download them and analyze this. And if I go to the process where you can see the process error logs, as you can see, this process is failed and I want to see what is the error message. So click on the process, go to view, and I can see what is the error message. So that's our first feature in the data and models. And the second one is my personal favorite, which is, for example, if you are in the dimension and you click on this dimension, and you go view related cubes, it will tell you what are the cubes related to the dimension. For example, if you're planning to delete this dimension and you want to see the impact in the server, this will tell you these are the cubes using those dimensions. If you want to include the control cubes, you can enable this one. As soon as you enable this one, if the list is too big, you can see them as like a drop box and you can also search for it. The third one that we're going to look at is the baseline forecast. So baseline forecast, you can go to the baseline forecast in two different ways. So either you can click on the create button and then you can click the baseline forecast in the data and models, or you can go here, click new, and then you can also click baseline forecast. I assume this forecasting section, which will be a bit more features coming in the future. I believe there's more AI and all later stuff. So in terms of functionality, that remains same. Baseline forecast functionality remains same, but in the new feature, you can able to create and share in your organization. For example, this is the one that I created and I can share with anyone in the organizations. So if I go, for example, clicking on this, so who can create this one? So admin and modelers can create, and who can run this one is admin, modeler, and analyst can run this one, and consumers can only consume and they cannot run. And for the consumers, they can still go into the exploration view and they can still create ad hoc forecast from the exploration view. So that hasn't changed at all. So this is more of a, you can run anytime. And you can also schedule this baseline forecast using a curl command. So you can copy this URL, pass it on to the curl command, you can schedule it, and you can also run as a service. And I believe, like Michael mentioned this morning in the session, that you can also schedule this in the new versions or in a future versions. So that's our, let's go back to the presentation. So that's our data and models. Let's go back in the main screen. And the last functional area is administrations. And if I go administrations, the first one that we are going to look in is the last login for the user. So now you can able to see that option in the administration tab, and also you can see them in a downloaded report. The second one is the you can pass the thread and activity at any time in the database, and you can analyze the activities in the database. The third feature is modeling workbench, plans, and applications that are included in a lifecycle management. So let's jump back out of this. Let's go back to the home page, click on the administration. And if you're on administrations, users and groups, you can click on any of the user and you can see the last login page. This is a useful feature in terms of managing the license, which you can tell that the user last logged in, how frequent he is logging in, and do you want to keep them in the licensing or not. So this is a useful feature. And you can also download the entire list, where you can download the entire list and you can see them in the list as well. So for example, the last login, it will be the last column in this list. So let's go back to the second feature, which is in the database. You click on any of the database, you go to threads. So now they given an option to disable the auto refresh, which means it will stop refreshing this page, where you can go and analyze the database activity. And once you're done, you can also enable it. While you are doing the database activity analysis, you can also keep it in the pause mode, and you can also refresh to make sure you get the latest activity in place. The third feature we are going to look in is the lifecycle management, where you can go on the lifecycle management, for example, and I want to click create button. I want to type in and go next. And this one, you can now able to add a workbench. Now you can able to add application and plans. So if I click on application and plans, as you can see, as soon as I click on application and plans, all the relevant assets related to the application and plans, those ones are also part of this asset migration. So a couple of things on this one. If you're migrating the application and plans, and there is a approval group created, and you want to migrate that, you need to recreate them in a production. So, and also you can able to include the workbench. Same with that. If any of the objects inside the workbench will not be migrated, so you have to manually migrate in the background. But now you got an option to include workbench in your lifecycle management. So let's cancel this one. Let's go back to presentation. So these are the features that in the last year that's been released, and these are the three features are quite useful in terms of enhancing your experience with the workspace. And as you know, the theme of the year is exploring new perspectives. So hopefully you all will get to use this more and get more advantage out of this. So that's pretty much from me.
All right. Thanks, Ram. So there are some questions in the Q&A, but before we go into that, I would suggest everyone, if you can take a minute to do the survey for us. I'll put up the survey right now. So if you can spend a minute to provide the feedback to us, that would be great. This is very important to us. But at the meantime, probably like Ram, we can go through a couple of questions I haven't answered. So the first one is, can we have a roll-up feature that can be visualized across all the user group? So So I'm not sure whether he's asking about the custom rollup feature that we've had in the perspectives. How can we do it in the workspace key view, or I would assume that's the question, right?
Sorry, say that again. What's the question again?
The custom rollup in the key view.
The custom rollup.
Yeah, I think on that one we probably need to check and get back to you.
Right.
The RAF, but then actually you can also achieve this by adding a custom calculation into that. And there's another question from Julian. It's about, can you back out transactions like you can in perspectives? So this question is about how we can work with the transaction log. So for the transaction log, according to IBM, I think it's still yet to come. But we'll double check and get back to you whether you can do this in Workbench from the workspace. However, we do have a separate session in the afternoon about the modeling Workbench by leveraging the Workbench from the latest workspace. So if you're interested, you can also join the session and have a look. So as I said, for those questions we haven't answered today, we'll get back to you either via email or we'll message you, by using the network platform of the Horizon. Is there any further question?
I can't see any of them coming.
Yeah, so the RAV is asking for the custom count. We need to get back to it because I remember in the early version of a port, they don't have this feature in terms of the custom rollup. We need to double check and get back to you on that one. Okay, there's some discussion around the thread page, to looking at the threads are running on TM1 side from the workspace administrator, I guess. But other than that, there's one more question. The pause thread only pauses the refresh. It doesn't actually pause the thread that is executing.
So the auto refresh is just pausing that for a moment, actually. So, but still, it's collect the activities and threads in the background. So we are not stopping that. That will still keep on going. But what we're doing is, for a moment, just for the view, we are just passing and analyzing the activity. So in the background, that will keep on collect the threads and activities. As soon as you turn them on or manually refresh while you're in the pass mode, you can able to see all the refreshed activities and comes through. So that's more of a temporarily, you can pass that and analyze the database activity. I hope that answers.
Okay, there's one more question from Gerard. They're using cameras, and how much functionality would be lost from switching to pull from cameras? I think cameras and pull are different product because cameras allows you to do basically whatever you want. If you know the JavaScript or HTML language, you can create your own web application to talk to TM1 and do like multiple things. And pull is more on a sort of intuitive web-based interface for PA. So in terms of what you will lose, I would say it depends on what you've already created via cameras. So then there's no like a direct answer to that question, unfortunately.
So just one of the questions that I noticed that which environment are we talking about? I think most of the features that I talked about today is available both in cloud as well as in the local.
Yeah, I've already answered that one. So basically, we've done this on the on-prem version, but as I said, all the features that Ram has demoed today, they're all available across all the platforms.
Right.
All right.
Any other questions? I don't think so. No.
Okay, again, if you do still have further questions, feel free to reach out to Ram over the networking feature of the platform, If not, hope you enjoy the rest of the horizon. Then thanks everyone for joining. Thanks, Ram, for the presentation.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you. Enjoy.
See you guys later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.